Hey, so this is my coding midterm project. All right, so the first problem, problem three, we want to write a Python function, two quadratics that takes in two sets of coefficients, x or coefficients and x values, and prints the sum of the results of evaluating the two quadratic equations. It does not do anything else, and we're supposed to use essentially this equation. All right, so first we have the given code, which is evaluate the quadratic, and it takes in the parameters a, b, c, and x. Um, a, b, and c, as it explains here, are the numerical values for the coefficients of the quadratic equation. Um, Equation, and then x is the numerical value, which can be to evaluate the quadratic. So this code returns ax times, or essentially ax squared plus bx plus c. Next, we have the function two quadratics, which takes the parameters a1, b1, and c1, x1, and a2, b2, c2, and x2. Um, a1, b1, and c1 are the first set of coefficients, and a2, b2, and c2 are another set of coefficients, and x1 and x2, as it explains here, are the values at which to evaluate the quadratic equations. Um, so we have this code, which calculates the quadratic equations using the function calls eval quadratic and a1, b1, c1, and x1 as the parameters for the first call, and a2, b2, c2, and x2 as parameters for the second call. And then it adds it together and stores it as the result variable. Then it returns the results, and it also prints the result. Um, so here we have the function two quadratics, um, which I'm going to go ahead and run. And you can see these parameters are the parameters I'm using to test it. See run, and it calculates 12. For the second problem, or problem 4, as it says here, we want to implement a function that meets the specifications below. Um, By below, it wants us to assume that L is a list of lists whose elements are integers, and it wants us to mutate L so that it reverses the elements and also or it reverses the list's elements, and then it reverses the integers in those lists of every element of L. Um, this code, as it says here, does not specifically return anything after doing that. So first we have L dot reverse, which reverses the lists in L. So it will go, so now the order will be this list, and this list. Next we have this for loop, which iterates L for every sublist. So it basically iterates through the lists, and so we have sublist.reverse, and basically what it does is that it takes the sublist and reverses it, and then it returns L. And here we have the function call, and here we have a command to tell the program to print out the result after that function call. So I'm going to go ahead and run program. As you see here, these are our starting element, our starting list, run, and it returns 567, 765 to begin with, 34, or yeah, 3, 4, 4, 3 to begin with, and 2, 1. 2, 1 to begin with. 2, 1. Just you know what I mean. Next for let's see, this was the next for the third problem, or problem 5. We have instructions to write a function call dictionary invert that takes in a dictionary with the immutable values and returns the inverse of the dictionary. The inverse of a dictionary B is another dictionary whose keys are the unique dictionary values in D. The value for a key in the inverse dictionary is a sorted list of all the keys in D that have the same value as D. So here we have 3 different variables or 3 different dictionaries to use in our test cases. And we have the function dict underscore invert, dictionary invert, and it accepts the parameters D. As it says here, it returns an inverted dictionary according to the instructions above. So now we have my code. So first we want to initialize an empty dictionary for the inverted result to store the inverted result into. So we have inverted dictionary. Next, we have a for loop that iterates through the key value pairs of the input dictionary. So we have for key value in for every key for every key value in D for items. So as it says here, this it's a leftover comment from other. Nope. So we have this command, which basically is for if the value is not in the inverted dictionary, it will add it to the list containing the keys. Otherwise, it will append the key to the list of keys associated with the value. So we have this command, which is inverted dict dot set default value, open and close brackets, append key, or dot append key, which does the command. And next we have a for loop that iterates for every key in inverted dictionary, and here in this, we sort the values or the list of keys in the inverted dictionary. So we have inverted dictionary for every key dot sort, and it returns inverted dictionary. So here we have the function calls for every one of our test variables. And here we print out the test case. So as you see here, for inverted dictionary 1, it's 1, 10, 2, 20, 3, 30. For here we have 10, 1, 20, 2, and 30 for 3. And this is a similar pattern for number 2, in which it's 10, 1, 2, 20, and 30, 3, and 4, because there's 2 different keys, or yeah, 2 different keys as you see here. And the print inverted 2 different values, I think is the right term. Yeah. And here we have print inverted dictionary 3. So where it says 4, 2, 2 true, and 0 true. So here we have true, and it contains contains 0, 2, and 4. So, and that's, yeah, so for the problem, I believe this is problem 4. Yeah, problem 4, number 4, problem 6. We have, um, we want to return the maximum integers in T recursively in an element T. So we have these 2 tuple lists, And this function, which is max value t, as it says here, t or tuple, t or t tuple or list, each element of t is either an integer, tuple, or a list. No tuple and no tuple or list is empty. Returns the maximum int or maximum integer int recursively in an element of t. So yeah, these are lists that contain, as it says here, these are lists that contain uh, uh, was it tuples or lists or integers. So as you see here, 5. Then we have this list here, and then this tuple. Like, yeah. So now we go into our code. So we have um, this is statement here, which basically makes up our base case and says if t is an integer, then return t. So if, for instance, t is an integer, return t. Otherwise, um, if it is not, if it is a tuple or a list, then we move on to recursively find the maximum of each element. And to do that, we have to initialize max value, set it equal to 0. And down here, we iterate through the elements in T. So we have for every item in T, and it recursively, um, we have current max equals max value for the item. Yeah, see max value. So this is recursive right here, the recursive call. And we store that into current max. Then we update the maximum value. After this call, we update the max value if the current max is greater than it. So we have this if statement that checks if current max is greater than the max value, and if so, it sets the max value equal to the current max, and then it returns the max value. So down here we have the print max value test1 and print max value test2, which runs the code, and then prints the result. So we have these two test cases. The greatest values for one is 5 and 9, so we should get for one 5 and the other 9. We'll run the program, and as you see here, we have 5 and 9. So um, the next thing, or the next problem we have is, I believe this is problem 5 or number 7, or problem 7 or number 5. So problem 7 we have here, as it says up here, um, Python functions called satisfies else and satisfies f of s, that has specific specifications below. Write a Python function called satisfies that has the specification below. This is the specification. So right here we see L is a list of strings. Assume function f assume function f is provided and it maps a string to a Boolean. Mutate L such that it contains all of the strings s originally in L that f of s. Return, and then it returns false and no other elements. Remaining in elements remaining elements in L should be the same order. So we have this code which is given. So we have this function f of s which returns a and s. Um, we have the function run satisfies f, which basically calls the satisfies s program, has it run, and then prints the result. And now we also have this list, as it says here, list of strings. So we have L as a list of strings. So down in our code, we create a new copy of L to iterate over and mutate. So we have new L, and we store it as equals an empty list. So next we have this for loop, which iterates for every S and L, and we and inside the for loop, we have an if statement that checks if the result of the function f of s for each string s returns true if the a is present and false otherwise. So we have if not f of s, and if this is correct, and moving on. And we have the new L, and we append S to the new L list. As it says here, adds string S to the new list. Next, after this for loop runs, we want to update the original list and replace it with the new mutated list. So we have L equals new list, and new L, and then we return L. So here we have the test, which will run satisfies L, or run satisfies F with the parameters L and satisfies F. So I'm going to go ahead and run it. And as you see here, we have B and C in it from our original A, B, and C, and the code removed A like it was supposed to do and returned the list. This concludes my midterm coding problems recording. Thank you for your time.